Triple B Hot Takes. Welcome, welcome.
Good morning. Week 14, NFL Sunday is here. Playoffs are on the horizon. It is the witching hour of fantasy leagues worldwide. And the best picks around are right here. Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah. A lot on the line, a lot of tight leagues for me this year. I think that's shared with a lot of people this year. A lot of close leagues. This week matters big time. Next week matters big time. We're in it now. We're in it now. I am not alone. I am joined by the myth, the man, the legend, Roy. Come on down.
Good morning. Week 14, holy balls, time flies when you're having fun.
Week 14 is here. Once again, I am Triple B. This is Triple B Hot Takes. Let's get right into it. Let's get sweaty. QBs right at the top this week. My QB of the week, my number one play, Russell Wilson playing I don't even know who he's playing. I didn't write it down. Shit.
The Chargers.
That's right, the Chargers. One of the worst pass defenses in the league, if not the worst. Russ Wilson is going to cook today. I do believe that. My QB that I'm playing in all my DraftKings, though, because he's cheaper and because he's on a tear right now. 5 wins in a row for the Indianapolis Colts. My risk is Gardner Minshew.
I like it.
I love Minshew, $5,400. Great cheap option. Gardner Minshew.
I like it. I like it a
QBs?
lot. I'm going with a guy that's been on a tear himself, averaging 303.4 passing yards per game. Think about that. 303.4 passing yards per game. He was Mr. Irrelevant in the draft, Mr. Brock Purdy. 49ers going up against Seattle today, I think. 49ers are giving Seattle 7 points or something like that. But Seattle's also allowing the most passing yards, period, to quarterbacks in the league. Last week they gave up 3 touchdowns, so I like Brock Purdy this week to light it up again. He had 4 tutters last week. Can he do it again this week? Brock Purdy. At my risk, and he's $6,500, by the way. That's not too bad in DraftKings. Actually, more than him in DraftKings. That's $6,800. My risk this week. Justin Fields. Yeah, you say Justin Fields. Okay, yeah, he's a shitty quarterback on a shitty team in a shitty division. And they're playing a very strong rival in Detroit. However, interestingly enough, Detroit has allowed the most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks in the league this year. So what does Justin Fields do? Run. So Justin Fields, I think he's having a big fantasy day with his legs today.
All right. Running backs. I have Christian McCaffrey at the top. I think it's a big week for him. He plays Seattle again. Went off against him the first time they played. I think he had 33 or 34 points.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they somehow can figure out a way to stop him. I don't think they're gonna. Christian McCaffrey, he's super expensive, though, so you got to work that in, $9,200.
Yeah, oof.
Alvin Kamara, though, is cheaper and probably going to do just as much against Carolina's absolutely shitty D. Alvin Kamara, though, is a little bit of a risk because he is a roller coaster of a running back. He can go off or he can just get 11 points. So it's kind of a risk. Not really, though, against Carolina, I don't think. The true risk this week, but I think it's going to pay off big time in the reward category, is Jerick McKinnon. There's no Isaiah Pacheco this week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is technically the RB1, but we all know how that goes when this has happened in the past. Jerick McKinnon takes over. He's got his little arm things on, the white things, and he just goes off and does circles and spins around people and catches balls and says, hey, I'm still Jerick McKinnon that filled in for Alvin Kamara and went off for the Saints. I'm still that guy. He's healthy. I like him for $4,800 as my sleeper of the week, Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, I like it. Running backs, $6,100. I like Joe Mixon again this week. Bengals playing Indy. Going to be a tough game because they're both 7-5. Or is that right? 6-5, 7-5, something like that. Indy is playing for playoff hopes, and so is Cincy. They're staying in it and trying to keep themselves alive. No Joe Burrow. However, Mixon has become their lean-to guy here, and last week he had a huge week, 19 for 68 and 6 of 7 on passing end for 49 yards. I like Joe Mixon to be the guy again this week for Cincy, going up against Indy's suspect run D. The other guy I like this week a lot, he has let fantasy owners down the last 3-4 weeks repetitively. However, going against the worst run defense in the league today, and I think it's time for him to get back on track. Austin Eckler, he's $7,600 in DraftKings. Again, going up against Denver's D, which has given up the most yards and is the worst D against the run in the league. So Austin Eckler to get back on track. At a risk this week, and he has become the guy in Carolina, Chuba Hubbard, 5,600, Chubby Hubby, $5,600 in DraftKings. The Saints have a weak D against the run also, and last week against Tampa Bay's pretty stout run D, he was 25 for 104 and 2 tutters. So it's a risk, but I like what I see coming out of him in Carolina.
All right, wide receivers. I have right at the top Mike Evans for $7,700. I don't play this guy a lot, and I don't really know why. I truly don't. He plays Atlanta this week. Last time they played this year, he had 22 on him, even though Atlanta's got a pretty good defense. This is something that needs to be talked about, and I'm going to shed some light on Mike Evans for a sec here. This is his 10th season in a row with 1,000 or more yards receiving.
Pretty impressive.
It's his 5th season with 10-plus touchdowns, multiple-digit touchdowns on the season. It's time to start considering Mike Evans as a Hall of Famer who has stood the test of time with different quarterbacks. Tom Brady, you got freaking Baker in there right now. Early on, it was kind of rough for him. 10th season, 1,000 yards plus.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's number 1 on my list this week. Number 2, Davante Adams plays a shitty Minnesota defense. Not a fan of Minnesota, obviously. Not a fan of their defense because they suck ass. Justin Jefferson is back, cancer on the team. Davante Adams goes off this week if they can get him the freaking ball. If not, well, then it's just the saddest trade of all time, and Davante Adams is just continuing to die as a Raider. My fire play of the week, Michael Pittman Jr., who just continues to throttle people and get 10-plus targets every single week, and DraftKings refuses to put him above $7,500, so I'm going to take advantage of that and stack him with Gardner Minshew. Michael Pittman Jr., fire play of the week. My risks this week, I have 2 because I just feel like they're too good not to mention them both. Rashee Rice, $5,400, has been going off for the Chiefs, and not a lot of people are talking about him. He's gaining ground, but he's in that phase where you can snag him for cheap still in DraftKings, and I would recommend that. Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs, I'll mention this later on, they're going to win this week. They have to win, and when their backs are against the wall, they always win. Buffalo Bills are in the same boat, don't get me wrong. Both teams' backs are against the wall, but the Chiefs have proven time and time again that they are better than the Buffalo Bills when their backs are against the wall, and I think that they will prove that today. I think they're going to win by 10+, if I'm being completely honest with you. So Rashee Rice is going to be a benefactor of that. Another guy that you have to, I put him in my lineup, Elijah Moore. 12 targets last week. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden he's a target monster, because Joe Flacco seems to really like this dude. $4,500 for Elijah Moore. Amari Cooper is out, I believe.
He is?
which is huge for Elijah Moore.
Is Flacco getting the start? I know there was some
He is. They
discussion.
announced
Okay,
it. Yep.
okay.
Yep. Joe Flacco starting.
Interestingly enough, though, Pierce Thompson or whoever the Damian, whatever his name is, the other guy, the rookie, actually has very good rapport as well with Elijah Moore. So I don't think he gets hurt either way.
Yeah. Rashee Rice, Elijah Moore for the risk at wide receiver this week. Okay, wide receivers.
Yeah, I plugged this guy back in. I've left him out the last couple of weeks, and he's proved me wrong over and over and over again. And I don't mean wrong because he never proves anyone wrong. He's just steady, and he continues to be steady. Although going up against a stout Baltimore defense this week, I still like Puka Nacua to go off and have a big game against Baltimore. Why? Because he's Puka Nacua, and also I believe Cooper Kupp is going to be the decoy this week. They're going to double team down on him with their strong side corner and leaving Puka to rip it up down the middle and down the seam again. So I like Puka, $7,100 in DraftKings. This guy gets overlooked every week, and he continues to be overlooked every week, and he continues to be reliable, and he continues to be steady. Gabe Davis for Buffalo. He's averaging 15 to 20 fantasy points a week. Think about that. Holy mackerel. And under the radar. No one thinks about it. You think of Stephon Diggs. You think of Josh Allen running the football. But Gabe Davis has been very steady. He's only $5,800 in DraftKings. I like Gabe Davis. This one kind of is a question mark because they're going up against the Jets D. Although, I don't know. The Jets are so damn dysfunctional. I don't think they know their own identity anymore. That locker room has been lost. Robert Saleh is a joke. I like Noah Brown coming off injury. Looks like he's going to play. It was questionable, but everything's indicating he's going to play. $5,000 in DraftKings. You've got Nico Collins, Noah Brown, and Bobby Trees there. And I think Noah Brown comes back in flying under the radar and gets some love this week. At my risk, I'm with him on my risk. I have Elijah Moore at the risk at $4,500. He has just been steady Eddie the last 4 games. He's been targeted at least 7 times. He's the target leader on the team. And last week he was 7 for 44. That doesn't sound like a lot. However, he put up 2 scores as well. So the guy is, he's 7 for 44 is what he's averaging per week. Last week he was 12 for 83. So the guy's getting a lot of targets, and Joe Flacco likes him, and so does the other dude, as we mentioned. So I like Elijah Moore.
All right, tight ends at the top. I got Sam Laporta for $6,100, and my risk this week is Isaiah Likely for $2,900.
Interesting, yeah. Okay, I have Dalton Kincaid, another Buffalo guy, but he's on fire. He's been the TE1 in the league the last 5 out of 6 weeks. Pretty impressive for a rookie. Although, caution, Knox has just been activated off IR. Does he come back and play this week? Don't know. I still like Dalton Kincaid, $5,500 at a risk. I like Gerald Everett this week. The Los Angeles Chargers up against Denver. Denver is allowing the most fantasy points per game to tight ends. So he's worth the risk. $3,400.
All right, my big old hairy scary D, Atlanta going against Tampa Bay. I know I mentioned Mike Evans. I still think Mike Evans is going to score a lot of points, but I like Atlanta's defense at home against Tampa Bay. Atlanta's been scoring 10+ last 3 weeks. They're only $2,900. Hey, I picked Atlanta because I don't have any money in my DraftKings to afford anybody else, so Atlanta is the defense that I'm going with today.
And sometimes you got to look at it that way. I looked at a couple different defenses here. I'm starting to think a little differently on one of them, but the one I'm going to go with this week, $3,200 in DraftKings, is the Raiders against Minnesota. I think their D is going to be far too strong for the Queenie Weenies.
Okay, triple threat games, week 14. We are here. My record as it stands is 22-17. Roy's record is 21-18, right at the top. First game of the 3, I got LA Rams headed to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Rams are plus 7.5, which seems obnoxious and disrespectful towards the Rams. But nonetheless, I think the Ravens are going to win.
Yeah, I have the Ravens in this one. I think their defensive
Keep picking
front,
against them, and they're not going to lose.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Their front four is just too strong on defense. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Matty Statty, and although he's having a great year, it's going to be a difficult one for him.
I would bet on the Rams to cover, though. If you were playing the spread,
Yeah.
I think that's not a bad bet for the Rams
Yeah.
to. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So 7.5 points is a lot in the NFL, and the Rams' offense has been playing pretty well, especially with Kyron Williams back.
Yeah.
I don't know. 7.5 seems extremely high. So that's all I'm saying about that.
Yeah, Kyron could be poised for a big day, too.
Second game, and what would be the game of the week, but it is not because of the game tonight, which is the next game in this lineup of 3, is the Buffalo Bills, aforementioned, head to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. Buffalo is plus 1.5. Chiefs are minus 1.5. Chiefs all day, like I said, they're going to win by 10 or more.
Wow. My initial blush on this one is I took Buffalo on this because of their strengths in having to go keep themselves into the playoff hunt after pissing down their leg numerous times. However, it becomes imperative that Kansas City wins this game as well. And the one stat that I overlooked that I looked up is Kansas City never loses after a big shellacking, and the Packers put it on them last week, and I think they're going to come in ready to play and pissed off and win this game against Buffalo as well.
So you got KC.
I have KC.
All right, and the final of the 3, which will be the game of the week, and the Eagles just continue to play the hardest schedule, arguably, of all time, which is tough for them, but you know what? They already have 10 wins, and people are questioning how good they are. Well, I think that people are overlooking how hard and difficult their schedule is this year. To win 10 games in a schedule like that, you give the Rams, you give Buffalo, you give the Chiefs the schedule that the Eagles had this year, neither of those none of them would be making the playoffs, in my opinion, because I think that it's way too tough. They gave the Eagles the schedule they did because they want the games that have been happening. It's very entertaining, and they know that the Eagles can still make the playoffs anyways because that's how good they are. I truly feel that way. The Eagles are a great team. They did not look so great last week. However, they played 3 games in a very short span of time against very good teams. They looked tired out there against the 49ers. They were at home, so I'm not going to discredit the 49ers. That is an extremely difficult place to play and to not only win, but kill a team that is a Super Bowl contender. The 49ers are for real again, and shout out for what they did last week. But I am telling you, and I've been telling you all year, the Eagles are for real. The people that are questioning the Eagles, you can question them all you want, but they're going to go into Dallas today, and they're going to come back after a week of rest, the most rest they've had in 4 weeks. They're going to come out, and they're going to beat Dallas at home. Dallas hasn't lost at home in a long time. Eagles are plus 3. Dallas is minus 3, so they're favoring Dallas at home. No. Dak Prescott, you're doing fantastic. I don't expect you to do any different tonight. However, the Eagles are going to beat you by either a field goal or a touchdown in Dallas. I'm taking the Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Fly,
Yep.
Eagles, fly. I can't imagine after the ass whooping that they took from San Francisco last week that they're going to roll over going into Dallas.
No way.
And Dallas pisses down their leg every time they play anybody that has any moxie to them. And the Eagles, believe me, you have moxie. So as he says, say what you want about the Eagles. They're a very good football team, and they're going to continue to be a very good football team as long as they have the power that they have. Yes, Dallas has a good D. Yes, it's going to be a grind it out, bash it out game. But I have the Eagles by 3 in this.